Next up on things you didn't know. It's the Notorious B.I.G.'s Ready to Die, released September 13th, 1994. It has been certified 6 times platinum as of April 2018. It featured the singles Juicy, Big Poppa, and One More Chance. You guys familiar with this album? You got it on a regular repeat?
No,
I thought it was so cool when I had this album.
I remember it being out.
Okay.
I wasn't like really begin to rap at that time, but I remember it coming out.
Okay, so Icky, was it cassette or CD?
The first time I had it was a cassette, and then my mom discovered that I was listening to it when she wasn't home and broke it. And because of that bitch Tipper Gore and the whole parental advisory thing, I had to go shoulder tap someone in Fred Meyer to get a new one, and that one was a CD.
So how did you get the original cassette tape then?
From my boyfriend's, or my sister's boyfriend.
Wait, what?
The same guy who gave me my first Rage Against This Machine tape was the first guy that gave me this one.
Gotcha. I thought we were about to find out more about you than we ever knew.
Yeah, he just outed himself.
Yeah.
He wasn't even in.
Yeah, I
My
remember.
sister's high school boyfriend was one of my musical leaders for about a year.
I remember it was the Fred Meyer down on Johnson Creek in 82nd, and I went in to buy, I can't even remember what the album was, but it had a parental advisory sticker on it, and the person behind the counter wouldn't fucking sell it to me, even though I was 18. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, no, you need to be 21. And I'm like, who the fuck said that?
Yeah, that's not the rule.
I'm like, give me the fucking CD.
Thought you were a poser.
So I left and then came back when somebody else was working, and they sold it. Actually, no, I take it back. I went to the warehouse over on Sunnyside and bought it over there. Go to hell, Fred Meyer.
Tower Records would sell it to a 9-year-old. They don't care.
There you go.
We had a place called Vinyl Fever here in town where it was a bunch of stoners that worked there, and basically they did not care if you were underage. They would sell you the stuff.
Vinyl Fever.
Vinyl Fever, right over there by the college. It smelled like a bunch of stoners. It had that, crusty 90s smell going in it. There was long-haired guys with tie-dye and Grateful Dead t-shirts, Doors posters everywhere. I mean, I'm sure they was blazing up in the
That's the best
employee
kind of
room.
music store to go to.
Man.
They still exist because you're going to get a real recommendation from
Nah,
someone
they
there.
went out of business about 15 years ago. That was like besides Walmart, but they wouldn't sell the stuff with language there, so everybody went to Vinyl Fever.
No, man, I think he's right. Like, those were the stores that you wanted to go. I was always Empire Records. I was always jealous. Like, I went in when I first turned 16, and my dad's like, "You need to get a job." And I was like, okay. I would go apply, and I never got hired at any of these record stores. And I'm like, I would get upset. Where I'm like, these pretentious douchebags aren't letting me into the club. All I want to do is work at a record store, and I never got to.
Yeah, I did one of those. I bought the Britney Spears album, and I remember the guy looking at it and looking at me and just going. He still sold it for us. He was completely judging me on all this.
See, that's the thing. Kids these days aren't going to know what it was like to have to go and purchase an actual album. You can just go stream a song, and if you don't like it, you just don't listen to it again. I had a friend, he went in and bought Big Willie Styles by Will Smith. And as we were driving back to his house, we were listening to it, and we were like, dude, this sucks. So he went to return it. And they were like, no, you can't return it.
You already opened it.
Yeah, he's like, you already opened it. And he's like, no. He's like, take it back. And they obviously they wouldn't take it back. So
even on top of that, instead of just albums, you had to do that for concert tickets too, and actually walk up to the Ticketmaster counter and be like, yes, I'd like 2 tickets for NSYNC, please.
Or wait for when the tickets go on sale. Show up at a G.I. Joe's or wherever they were selling the tickets at Ticketmaster.
I miss those days. Actually, camping out in front of the store to get the right seats. Those were the glory days.
We still had people down here in El Paso that would do that. When Metallica came here back in 2019, the tickets were going on sale, and we legitimately sent somebody that worked with the show down to the Ticketmaster at the Don Haskins Center where the concert was going to go on, and there was a line of people down there.
Yeah,
because we're still as cool as El Paso is. It's still kind of 20 years ago, which also makes it even cooler because there's a lot of stuff like that goes on. But back to Biggie here. While recording the album, he was asked who his biggest competition in the rap game was. His answer was Redman.
Oh.
Not what you would expect. And then he also admitted that on the song "The What," which is on "Ready to Die," Method Man has a better verse than he does.
So he's right.
Well, what they were all like, weren't they all from like the same borough? Like, just weren't they all from Brooklyn?
Well,
Or the
no,
Bronx?
Wu-Tang's from
Harlem.
Staten.
Harlem.
Wu-Tang was from Staten Island, and like Redman was from Jersey. He's from the Bricks.
But New York had that culture up there to where they like rappers all kind of knew each other because of the rap, the culture that had developed in a New York style. I thought like a lot of them kind of were aware, and it was like Jay-Z knew a lot of them went before he hit it big from just.
Yeah, and remember, there's also
the rap community was so small at that point that all five boroughs are probably working together just to get something going.
And you know, this was also right around that time when there was the beginning of the whole East Coast West Coast feud.
Yeah.
So and finally, the album ends with the song "Suicidal Thoughts." And it obviously ends up with Biggie committing suicide by gun. P. Diddy was adamant about not including this song, but Biggie ended up getting his way to wrap up the album with that song. Now, obviously, the way Diddy's life is wrapping up.
Yeah.
Where is he right now, by the way?
I don't know, but he just lost like a court case, I think, up in Ohio for like $100 million for some inmate claiming that Diddy drugged him and apparently did butt stuff to him while he was drugged. So
They call it the Diddy Diddle.
yeah, so I don't know like where he is, but he's getting sued left and right.
Oh, Jesus.